Did you see this viral video of Chinese planes dropping aid over Gaza? And did you believe it? Hello everybody, my name is Toby. Welcome back to the channel. This, of course, is Toby's Takeaway. Today I want to talk about that viral video, which, by the way, and I did ask you if you believed it or not, turned out to be false, or as another term you might use, false news. It was just that. In fact, it was really a sort of mashup of many videos. So aid dropped in years gone by, and also that aid, when it was dropped, and it was probably pretty much 2024, even earlier, so not this year, 2025 I'm recording this, and also it wasn't Chinese planes. In fact, Chinese planes haven't dropped aid over Gaza, but what they have been doing is they've been having some military exercises in neighbouring Egypt, and I think they took some of that footage and some old footage of aid being dropped and really sort of put them together. But why did they do that? Well, let's talk about it in this video, and let's use this viral video to talk about China's relationship with both Israel and Palestine.
So did China conduct humanitarian airdrops there despite the Israeli air blockade that's been in place for nearly 3 months now?
In today's video, we're going to dive deep into China's evolving relationships with both Israel and Palestine, and we're going to examine diplomacy, trade, foreign aid and strategic interests. And what we'll do, we'll compare China's role to other major players like the US, the EU and Gulf countries. And I suppose the question we're going to ask ourselves, and you can ask me and we can have this sort of dialogue, is where is China positioning itself, not just on the world stage, but in this particular area, the Middle East? Okay, so as we've already discussed, that viral video this year was actually fake, but we're still going to use it as a starting point to talk about China's aid to Palestine. What I want to do now is, I'm going to put this up on screen, is basically list a few of the major players. So your US, your EU, and then we've got Qatar here as well as China, and basically show you in US dollars how much these players are, or these countries, or the EU, a lot of countries are giving in aid to Palestine. And you can see some quite sizable amounts. China, amount that they're giving, obviously much lower than the other countries. But let's talk about why that is and why they are giving aid. And then later on we can of course talk about their relationship with Israel.
中国坚定支持巴勒斯坦人民恢复民族合法权利的正义事业，始终致力于巴勒斯坦问题的全面、公正、持久解决。
China officially recognized the state of Palestine in 1988, and since then the relationship has remained diplomatically warm, if not deeply economic. But China consistently supports pro-Palestinian resolutions at the UN and opposes Israeli settlement expansion. And then in 2023, President Xi Jinping reiterated China's support for the 1967 borders and the two-state solution, you know, a message welcomed by Arab nations, especially as China expands its energy and infrastructure partnerships in the Gulf. And in fact, guys, if you keep watching to the end, I'll read you President Xi Jinping's 2023 three-point proposal for basically the Israel and Palestine situation. So do keep watching to the end. I've got it on the iPad and I'll read it to you in English. Now, here's where the story becomes more layered. You know, despite supporting Palestine diplomatically, China has also built strong economic ties with Israel, especially in the areas of technology, infrastructure, and of course trade. And what I'll do is now I'll put up some statistics from 2023 about the trade that China and Israel has. So it's about 20 billion US dollars, and Israel, or I should say China, is Israel's third largest trading partner. And some of the sectors they operate in, of course, AI, semiconductors, medical tech is a big one, and of course agriculture as well. Another important point is the port of Haifa, because China operates that, or at least partly operates that, and that's one of Israel's most strategic shipping locations, and it's part of China's broader infrastructure program. You know, it's built around the Belt and Road Initiative, something I've talked long about before. But that port is very important, but the overall relationship between Israel and China concerns Washington, that's right, the United States of America, especially because they worry about Chinese having access to Israeli and even US technologies, you know. But Israel, smart of them, is also looking to diversify themselves from relying entirely on the West and on America. Of course they do, but Israel is also trying to diversify a little bit, and that's why I think they've partnered up with China in a lot of areas. To be honest, everybody, if they get the chance, even America, and that's if they don't say it on the news, they are partnering up with China. Everybody does. And so when I make points like, you know, Israel or China being Israel's third largest trading partner, that shouldn't come to as a shock to you. China is pretty much on the top 3 list of everybody's major trading partners, and the Haifa port shouldn't become a shock to you, because as I've said so many times in my videos, the Belt and Road Initiative is about moving goods across the world, from China to the rest of the world, and from the rest of the world into China, and you need that. Well, it's part of it. The Belt and Road Initiative is more than just that. It's also a movement of people and of information and of friendships, I think, for the most part, but also goods are a really, really important part of that. So ports and roads and bridges, and in this case the Haifa port, is and does make total sense, but it's just interesting that America isn't that happy about it, and you can understand why. I mean, Israel uses a lot of American technology, especially military technology, so when they see Israel and China having a closer relationship, I'm sure they do get worried.
The construction of the new port started in 2018. The first phase has been completed and has an annual container throughput of more than 1 million TEU. This is the first new port opened in a Middle Eastern country for the past 60 years, and has given the country a new gateway to the world.
I think at this point it's really important to say that China isn't trying to replace the US in the Middle East, at least not militarily, but it's trying to expand its diplomatic and economic presence in a way that builds goodwill with both sides. So let's talk about that. You know, by supporting Palestine diplomatically and maintaining trade with Israel, China basically keeps doors open in both the Arab and the Western world. And it also strengthens its hand in sort of energy diplomacy. Well, what does that mean? That means, as everybody knows, the Gulf, the Middle East, the home of oil, basically, and that's really, really important to China, that they have access to that oil, and it's really a big driver of Chinese foreign policy. But on the diplomacy side, China has even offered to host direct peace talks between Israel and Palestine, you know, a move that signals its growing ambition to be seen as a global mediator as well, not just an economic power. So I think we can see that China is really doing its best on both sides, not just furthering itself economically, but literally trying to create peace around the world.
今年10月以来，巴以冲突剧烈升级，人民遭受沉重苦难，战争不能再无限继续。
So, is this a double standard, a balanced strategy, or simply the way modern diplomacy works in today's world? That's up to you to decide. Please do let me know in the comments below. How do you see China's role in the Middle East evolving? Is it a neutral peace builder or a calculated power player? Guys, thank you very much for watching. But as promised, I have here Xi Jinping's, the president of China's, 3-point proposal for settlement of the Palestinian question. And of course, these were discussed with the then visiting Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas in Beijing. This from 2023, June 2023. First of all, the fundamental solution lies in the establishment of an independent state of Palestine that enjoys full sovereignty on the basis of the 1967 borders and with East Jerusalem as its capital. Second, Palestine's economic and livelihood needs should be met, and the international community needs to step up development assistance and humanitarian aid to Palestine. Third, it is important to keep the right direction of peace talks. The historical status quo of the holy sites in Jerusalem should be respected, and excessive and provocative words and actions should be avoided. A large-scale, more authoritative and more influential international peace conferences should be convened so as to create conditions for the resumption of peace talks and contribute tangible efforts to help Palestine and Israel live in peace. That's what Xi Jinping said. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Do please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and then hit the bell button so you get to see the next video. Thank you very much. 谢谢，再见，拜拜。